So 1 year ago, I decided to start my very first project pan after many years of feeling intimidated by what seemed to be an impossible task. So I set some rules for myself, I gathered some of my favorite products, and then along the way, I've added, emptied, and removed products from my list. Today we're talking about my entire experience throughout the entire year of doing my project pan, and we'll be covering what I finished up, how this project has kind of shaped my relationship with my makeup, and where I'll be going from here. Hey guys, if you're new here, my name is Kristina, and I would love if you guys would stick around, hang out with me, and subscribe if you're not already. It's been quite a while since our last project pan update video because I was actually traveling for about a month between our last update and now. So I decided to kind of put my project on a pause during that time. And the reason being was because 3 out of 4 of those weeks that I was traveling, I was virtually wearing no makeup since I was visiting my older sister and her husband. They had their first baby, so I was helping them out. So really not much makeup was worn during that time. So first I want to do a quick summary of what I have finished through the year and what I've removed, and then what I'm currently still making progress with. All right, so the things that we have finished up. So first we had the Makeup by Mario, the Perfect Brown Pencil Eyeliner. Actually, this is not going to be in order. I just have it listed. We also have the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Pressed Powder in the shade Medium. That one was already kind of on its way out, so this project allowed me to finish it up. We also had Fleur Missing Person, just the travel size, and I have since graduated to actually using the full size one that I had. We finished up a Sigma Duo Color Corrector in the shade Medium to Dark. Since then, I have opened up a brand new one, and since then, I have already hit pan on that. So that kind of speaks on how much I really enjoy that product. And now for 2 of our newest empties, starting off with another Fleur fragrance. This is the one in Father Figure. I absolutely love this one. It's completely finished up. It took me quite a while. I made a huge dent in this one around the fall winter time of last year. And since then I was kind of slowly trudging along with this one, but truly still one of my favorites. And again, I did have a full size of this one, so I have since started using that one as well. I may honestly keep this around, like this component, in case I ever want to travel with this fragrance and then just refill this container. I do have a couple other travel atomizers, but this might be nice just to have the same fragrance in the same travel size. But love this one. Such a beautiful, unique, lush fig scent. And I also feel like it's a little warm, it's a little spicy. There's really not much powder to it. It's great throughout the entire year. For me specifically, this one is just so unique and interesting to smell that I love wearing this whenever I have big occasions where I know I'm going to be around a lot of people, because this one honestly gets me tons of compliments, and for good reason, because it just is such a good fragrance. And then a lip product that I had been working on for quite a while. This is the Milk Kush lip oil in Green Dragon, I think is the shade. It was just the green lip oil, and for a while there I wasn't quite sure how much progress I was using, but once I realized that we were actually getting somewhere with this one, I just went turbo mode on this, and I completely finished this one up. This one actually sat next to me on my desk. Whenever I would be working, I would just open this up, start applying it, and just use a little bit at a time. It is very moisturizing, but I will say it didn't seem to add any moisture. It mainly just kept the moisture that my lips had anyways. I do love this one. It has a very slight sweet peppermint scent to it. All of the different shades have a different fragrance to them, and this one was just the one that I was most drawn to. I am very interested in trying, I think there's a guava one. It's like a kind of darker pink shade. It looks really beautiful. I would consider getting it again because I did enjoy this lip oil. I liked how glossy it was, and again, it wasn't adding a ton of hydration to the lips, but it wasn't taking away, and it didn't leave my lips feeling crusty or even drier than before I put it on. My biggest issue with this one, and one of the reasons why it was one that stayed next to my desk, is because it started to kind of leak. Like I would get a little bit of oil spillage around here. I think just from the constant taking the doe foot out and putting the doe foot back in, I think that maybe the stopper was building up product and then it would get on the outside. So I didn't feel confident in bringing this around with me whenever I was out and about. And also I think there's a little crack right here. Yeah, I think that crack also had something to do with it. That came towards the end. I would say the last I don't know, 5 or 6 months or so of usage, it started to crack there. So I was very careful about not furthering or deepening that crack. All in all, I think I really enjoyed this one. And I also sometimes would use it to like top lip combos, but for the most part, I just kind of use this as like a lip oil treatment type of thing. Now, talking about everything I finished up in this project as a whole, I would say I really got a feel for not only how I felt about the products and in what scenarios they worked the best, but also how long each product lasted. Obviously, like I knew that products last a super long time, especially when you have more products in each category that you're rotating through, but really seeing it in action and then experiencing the slow usage really put it into perspective for me on how long these products actually lasted. Now, of course, seeing that purchasing and reviewing new makeup to an extent is part of the job that I do, it's made me subconsciously second guess myself in buying something that I know deep down is mainly like a want for me. I used to make excuses to buy things by saying that I would just like add it into a video, but I have learned that the impulse to buy something new really won't help me in focusing on the last new product that I purchased because I was excited about it. So now let's talk about the products that I have since removed from our project. So early on, I was seeing myself use up products pretty quickly. So honestly, I got excited and I added more products a little too fast. And from there, I just kept adding and adding. But like I said, I was learning how much I was actually using up, and it got to be like just too many products to realistically keep up with, as well as reviewing new products for this channel. So you guys were also giving me really great feedback and advice, and a lot of you were telling me that I should keep it small so I wouldn't feel as discouraged, because for a while there, I was like, man, I'm not making a lot of progress. So through the course of the year, I did end up removing a lot of products. So let's kind of go over the ones that I did remove and a little bit of why I removed them. All right, so first, the Summer Fridays Lip Butter Balm in Vanilla Beige. Honestly, I just kind of got tired of this one. I felt like it was taking a really long time to make any sort of progress. And after a while, after trying even more lip products last year, I just felt like it wasn't the most moisturizing lip balm for me. And it wasn't something that I was subconsciously reaching for because I enjoyed it versus just having it in the project pan. Merit's Flush Balm in the shade Fox. I still hands down really love this shade, but I noticed that whenever we were getting deeper into the hotter months last summer, it just got too dewy too quickly on me in the heat. And then my preferences also towards the end of last year kind of changed. I really enjoyed something that was a little bit more mattifying because I felt like my oils were coming through enough to create more of a natural dewy look through my oils, and I didn't necessarily need it to happen with my products. And you're gonna kind of see that become a trend with a lot of the products that I removed within the project pan, mainly because my preferences just kind of changed a little bit. I would say I made a couple of tweaks, and yeah, that just really influenced it. The Sephora Contour Stick in the shade, I think it was medium. This one just got too dark on me. It became a little bit more muddy and a little bit more difficult to use because the shade just didn't seem like a good match anymore. Terra 28's Magic Hour Blush. This one, again, I just felt like was a little too dewy on me during the summertime, and again, a little too dewy for my preferences. I wanted more color and less dew, and this one just gave me a little bit of the opposite, more dew and less color. Same thing with the Terra 28 Sculptino in the shade Getty. This one, again, was a little dewy for me. I still really enjoy this shade though as a sculpting contour shade. I honestly reach for this one every so often, but not enough to really justify keeping it in my project because I started to feel like it wasn't meshing too well with my other products that I was using. The Kaja Lip Oil in Fig Smoothie. I really had no real reason for removing this other than the fact that I just kind of kept forgetting it was in the project pan. Now, for a while, I was keeping all of my project pan products like in a separate container, and maybe I'll revisit that idea, but yeah, I was using so many different lip products. I was testing so many different lip products that I sort of forgot about this. This is surprising to me because the Kaja lip oils, I love them. I love the texture. I love how shiny they are. And I really like the amount of pigmentation they actually put onto the lips. But yeah, I just kept forgetting. And I didn't want to keep it in the project just for the sake of keeping it. The Naturium lip balms. I added 2 lip balms and I quickly removed them because, like I mentioned earlier, I was testing way too many lip products to really justify keeping 3+ lip products within the project pan. So I really focused on the Milk lip oil, I think, and a couple of lip liners. And again, these are great. I like reach for these pretty often, but I don't reach for the same shade every single time because I have a lot of the Naturium lip balms. Colfi's Cream Shadow in the shade Bronze Brocade. I really like this, but I, again, just wanted to test other eye products. I was playing around with different looks. I was kind of being more adventurous, and there were more eyeshadow palettes that were coming out that I was actually pretty interested in. And because I had this one and the Charlotte Tilbury cream eyeshadow and the Surratt eyeshadow, it just kind of fell to the wayside. Is that the correct phrase? Also, my friend brought up the fact that this is more of a bronze pigment, but it has like silver flecks in it. And I think that's what made this one a little bit more, I don't know how to explain it, like a little bit more glamorous, less everyday, because the silver and the gold were a little bit more contrasty. So I always noticed that something about this made it like a step up from being an everyday eyeshadow. But because I loved the effect so much and I couldn't pinpoint what it was, I kind of haphazardly did that. I just realized for an everyday look, I wasn't reaching for it too often these days. So I, again, focused my attention on the other eyeshadow products that I had. And lastly, the Makeup by Mario Soft Sculpt Transforming Skin Enhancer in the shade Medium. This is the one that's like in the jar, in the pan. Again, this one just kind of became a little too dewy for me, and I just felt like it wasn't working for what I wanted it to do. Now, of course, while I removed a good amount, it allowed me to focus on the products that were remaining in the project, like I mentioned. While I haven't made equal amounts of progress on these, and some of these, there aren't like actual visible amounts of progress, I still think, based on my usage, I have made some significant dents in these. So let's talk about the products that I feel like I've made progress with. I've weighed them. I've kind of compared them to the last update. My Laura Mercier pressed powder. This is the Ultra Blur translucent version. As you can see, there is a ton of pan here. There's an obvious decrease because you can see a lot more pan. This is the one that we have gone on a journey with, you guys. I have loved this since I first started using it, and then it shattered on me. I pressed it back down, and now we are in a really good spot here. And there's also a weight decrease in this one. So this was weighing in at 62 grams the last time we did a progress video, and now it is weighing in at 60 grams. So I have a feeling this is going to go very, very soon. The Makeup Forever Artist Color Pencil in the shade Anywhere Caffeine. This is one that I feel like I've been making very steady progress on ever since I added it to our project pan. I feel like recently I have been reaching for this a lot based on a lot of my lip combos. I feel like currently this one is creating a very, very natural contour on my lips while not being like gray or brown. It still has like that pinky brown aspect to it. So for me, I feel like this is a very good base or foundational lip liner, and I feel like it's working with a lot of my lip combos currently. Based on our progress pictures, this update is probably the smallest amount of progress that we've made, but like I said, I have just been really loving this, so I feel like the next time we do an update, there will be a little bit more of a significant difference here. Glossier lip liner in Buff is our next one. I actually did travel with this one. I took it with me on my trip, and I believe I used it a couple of times. I think this last month I've been like reaching for this one even more. I would say that this one is very similar to the Makeup Forever Anywhere Caffeine, except this does have a little bit more of a darkness to it, a little bit more of a depth aspect to it. So it gives me slightly more of a dramatic contour on the lips while still, again, having a bit of that pinky brown to it. And this is going to be one based on our progress pictures that we have very steady usage on. I think so far since we added it to the project pan last summer, it's just been really, really steady here. I enjoy this a lot, super creamy. I would say that this has pretty good lasting power, not as much as like the Maybelline lifter liners or the Fenty lip liners. I would say it's like one step down from that because you actually do feel this dry down after you first apply it, and you can like buff it out a little bit. And after that, it kind of just stays put. Really good lip liner, and I'm very pleased with this shade. The Surratt eyeshadow quad in Beyond Beige, I did add this very recently within our project pan, and honestly, I didn't think that there was going to be any weight difference because I feel like powder in general is a lot lighter, and you can kind of see the marks on the actual eyeshadows. They have become larger, and you can see a little bit more of like the demarcation or markings on there, like especially this lighter brown shade right here. I love using this in my crease. I'll sometimes just use this by itself without using the rest of them. And the one we see the least amount of progress on is going to be that dark brown. I don't use the dark brown as often. If anything, I like to use this as a smudgy winged eyeliner. It's a really good tone for that. But if I put this like on my actual eyelid like I do today, it does come out a little bit more smoky, and that's not necessarily something I'm going for all the time. But I'm still really enjoying this eyeshadow palette. I think the quality is amazing. The price is very, very up there, but the quality really does speak for itself. Milk Makeup Future Fluid Concealer in the shade 15 NW. This one, I thought that I was going to finish it up the last time, to be honest, but then I took the stopper out based on y'all's feedback, and there was quite a bit more product in here. I will say that now that the stopper isn't in there and I'm kind of like scraping the walls, the formula is a little bit more oily because it's a little bit more separated. I think that maybe there's not enough product in here to evenly mix up the formula, if that makes sense. And I kind of have to swirl around in the product to make sure that I'm not getting like too much oil and I'm getting an even amount of pigment, but still really liking it. I feel like we're almost done. I did say that last time, but I truly do feel like I'm getting there. So when I weighed it, and again, we have to consider the fact that I took the stopper out, so that is extra weight. But the last time I weighed it, it was at 39 grams. Now it is currently sitting at 36 grams. So those were the products that I feel like we have made some significant difference in. So now let's talk about what I'm going to be doing differently moving forward. I feel like I had a really good starting point, but I feel like there are things that I could be doing that would make this project even more fulfilling and kind of give me a not stricter, but a clearer goal to work towards. So the first thing I'm doing differently is I'm going to create usage goals. And again, this was feedback from you guys. I really am listening to your feedback and your comments and stuff because I feel a little bit lost because people do project pans differently. And this has been very helpful, and I think it's going to be very helpful for me. So essentially, usage goals is giving yourself a goal of using a product X amount of times within months or weeks, however you want to format it. Truly, I wasn't aware that this was even an option when I started my project pan, so it's kind of relieving to know that there is another like way to see progress within my project pan. So I'm going to try it out. I feel like this is going to make it a little bit more doable, or it'll feel that way at least, versus using a ton of, let's say, like a powder blush like the House Labs Fire Moon blush that I have in this project. Instead of using a ton of this in a desperate attempt to hit the pan, this is just going to be like baby steps towards hitting the pan, because right now I'm like nowhere near at like hitting the pan of this product. Now, my only thing with the usage goal thing is I'm not entirely sure how people keep track of this. Like, do they have it in their notes or like write it down on their notes app or a piece of paper? Let me know how you guys suggest that I keep track of this, but for now I will be adding it into like a separate note in my notes app, just like marking off the days that I use it. Okay, the next change that we're going to do is we're going to have a maximum amount of products within our project pan. So I've given myself no more than 12 products at a time, and I'm also going to be doing the 1 out, 1 in rule. I think that I really needed to kind of scale down my project, even though I have a lot of products products like in my collection, in my possession. I think at the end of the day, finishing up one product is better than none, and like just decluttering a bunch of product that's barely used. So I am going to give myself a rule of no more than 12 products at a time. I think a max of 12 products will work for me, because if I add things that are a little bit easier to use up, you know, like lip oils or powders, like finishing powders, it'll justify having more spots. And I also feel like 12 products at a time was like the perfect amount before I started to feel really overwhelmed. I won't force myself to always have the 12 products. Like if I really do not want to use something anymore and I'm kind of starting to like hate pan it, then I'll remove it and then maybe leave a spot open. I just want to give myself like a maximum amount, since I just went overboard last time and my main feeling was feeling overwhelmed. But with that being said, I am also going to try to follow the 1 out, 1 in rule. So anytime I finish a product or I just don't want to have it in the project anymore, it'll allow me to add a new one. And this may be a bit hard to navigate if I end up having like less than 12 products, like I said, like if I remove something prematurely, but I'm going to try to only add multiple products at once to get to that 12 products if I really truly feel like it's going to be something I'll finish up, or if it's a product that I'm really close to finishing up anyways, so it'll just give me like that last push to finish it if I add it to my project. I hope that makes sense. I'm still trying to work through this one. I'm also treating it like an allowance. Like if I give myself, say, $50 a week for fun money, I don't have to use up the entire 50. Maybe I'll treat myself a little extra in one go, but the max will always be $50. Of course, this may change. Like I may hate having 12 products at a time, who knows? But I think with me setting this goal, it gives me more of a clear path to follow, like I mentioned. Okay, so we've gone over my thoughts, we've gone over what I have finished, and also the products that I've removed. So now let's talk about what's still in our project and then what I'll be working on. I'll also talk about my goals for each one, since again, I mentioned we're going to be doing usage goals. Obviously, Laura Mercier pressed powder, like I mentioned. This one, my goal is to just finish it up fully. The Glossier lip liner in Buff, my goal again is to just continue to use this steadily or finish it up. And the Makeup Forever lip liner in Anywhere Caffeine, again, steady usage and finish it up. That is the end goal for these two. I think it's doable since we have been seeing very steady use. The Surratt eyeshadow quad, I think for this one I want to set some usage goals, because again, I don't think I'm anywhere near like an actual pan in any of these. So my usage goal for this is to use it 2 times a week. So for me, I would say that I wear makeup anywhere between 3 to 6 times a week, just depending on how busy that week is, how many new products I'm testing out and reviewing, and also just like how much I feel like wearing. So I think 2 times a week is a really good conservative goal for this one, because this does give me a lot of options. Now, it doesn't mean that I have to use every shade 2 times a week. It just means I have to dip into this quad at least twice. Same thing with the Charlotte Tilbury cream eyeshadow. We're keeping this one. This is in the shade Amber Gold, and I'm going to create a usage goal of 2 times a week as well. I think this is really doable for this one because I can use it as a base shade, or I can use it as my one and done whenever I'm feeling really lazy with my eyeshadow. Haus Labs Fire Moon blush. Love this blush. So good, so buttery. And I'm going to create a usage goal of using this 3 times a week. At first I was like, maybe I'll just do twice a week or once a week, but I feel like currently this one is actually really appealing to me because I can use it as a blush and I can use it as a bronzer. That's kind of how I used it today, sort of as like my bronzer, and then I put like a slightly brighter pink shade on top of it. So I think layering and playing with this one a little bit more will allow me to use this 3 times a week. So I think that's going to be very doable for me. The only remaining fragrance within our project pan is the Lake and Sky 1111. So this one, I made the goal of just using it once a week. I have had such an influx in how many fragrances I now own, so I feel like once a week is conservative and it's also realistic. And again, just because I'm creating these usage goals doesn't mean that I can't go over that amount a week. You know what I'm saying? Like if I feel like wearing this one day, I've hit that goal, but then if the next day I want to wear it again, then I can wear it again. And then the next day, if I want to layer it with something, then I'll layer it with something. the Milk Future Fluid Concealer, I am just going to use this one up. Now the last couple of spots within our project pan are going to be ones that I'm adding. And I know I just talked about like, I just removed a whole bunch of products, but I think that these are going to be ones that are going to be worthy replacements for those products because again, I can see myself using them. I have been using them a lot lately, and I feel like they're just really fitting into my preferences these days. The first one, we are actually replacing the Makeup by Mario like enhancer with the liquid version. So this is, I wish they would change the names because they're so long and confusing. Makeup by Mario's Self Sculpt Bronzing and Shaping Serum in the shade Medium. I've talked about this many times. You can see that I've used a good amount of this. I haven't used the majority of it, but I am making some steady progress on this, and I really enjoy that it is such a thin texture compared to the one in the pot, you know, and it's not as dewy or greasy. I feel like this one actually does dry down very well, and it's really nice to use as my base bronzing product. So I feel like I can use this multiple ways. I already have. So we're actually going to add this. I weighed it, but I also want to make some markings. I've seen some people make markings on the actual product, and I think that'll be really helpful, especially for like a rounded product like this versus holding it up against like a piece of paper like we've been doing. So I'm going to make a little marking here so we can actually visually see it going down. I've tried to leave this as even as possible. There are little like dips and stuff here if you can see, but I'm just going to do what seems to be the average height. So I think right here is the most average height, so we'll do that. And at first I was kind of like, I don't want to write on my products, but I'm not even taking half of these things out and about with me. They don't need to look pretty. I use them at home, you know, like it's fine. So there is our first little mark right there. That's exciting. Okay, the next product that we are adding is going to be a lip product, and I wanted to add one lip product because one, I feel like I'm making good progress on this. Again, this is quite an old tube, and I just feel like I have so many lip products that I should at least include one. And I always reach for lip glosses. This is one that I truly really enjoy, so I'm going to add this. This is the Lawless Forget the Filler Lip Plumping Line Smoothing Gloss in the shade Cherry Vanilla. I have a ton of these types of lip glosses from Lawless, so I feel like maybe I should attempt to use one shade up, and Cherry Vanilla is definitely my most reached for, so I'm going to go ahead and mark this one. I feel like we're close to halfway, and I will preface and let you guys know that when the doe foot is out, there's less product, so each time that I make a marking, I'll make sure that it's like even and the doe foot is in there, so we have like a controlled so that it's controlled. What am I trying to say? You know what I'm trying to say. Making sure that there's continuity with how we measure this one. And my goal for this is just to finish it up. I'm not going to do a usage goal. This one I feel like I can easily just finish. This one is pretty even across, so I'm just going to mark it here on the side. And there's our little mark. And lastly, this brings us to 11. So we do have a 12 spot, but there's nothing that's really calling to me that I want to absolutely add to our project. So we're stopping on 11, and we're adding the LYS Beauty bronzer in the shade Harmony. Since I have received this one, I have not been able to put it down. It is the perfect bronzing tone for myself. It looks like it's very light, but once you actually get it on a brush and you pack it onto the face, it's truly such a beautiful bronzer. The shade is very neutral on me. It looks like what my skin naturally looks like whenever I get tan. So for me, this one, I am going to create a usage goal just because I'm finding that with powders that are not finishing powders that go all over my face, it definitely does take a while to hit that pan. So for this one, I'm going to make the goal of using this 3 times a week, and also just to like finish it up or hit pan. But 3 times a week for now is going to be our goal, and I truly do feel like I use this more than 3 times a week, so maybe this is a little bit of a cop-out, but we'll feel it out. We'll see how this goes. And yeah, I love this one. So good, and I'm excited to have like a bronzing powder within our project pan because it is something that I use within my makeup routine every time I do my makeup. And then I also want to note the products that I didn't mention that have been in my project pan, but I'm actually going to be removing them from the project. So we're removing the Maybelline Lifter Liner and the Bare Minerals lip liner in the shade Freestyle. That one is discontinued. I just feel like there's too many lip liners. I got too excited about the lip liners, and I want to keep it to 1 to 2 lip liners, really 1 to 2 products within each category. So I thought that these would be good ones to remove. I still really enjoy those two, but I just feel like I reach for these more often. So realistically, it makes more sense to keep these in. All right, guys, and that was our entire update for 1 year of project panning. Overall, I've really enjoyed this experience. I feel like actually doing it has been less intimidating than the idea of it. I really like the fact that I can continue to be flexible and sort of like make changes as I go. I was thinking before even doing a project pan that it would be so rigid, but then you guys were telling me like, your project is your project. You can do whatever you want in it. And I'm just really grateful that we've kind of been able to bounce off ideas and go through this together with everyone that has shared your project pan updates with me. I really do appreciate it. I feel like it kind of puts into perspective how everyone uses their products. It also shows me how creative I can be with my products. And yeah, it's very encouraging. It's very fun. It makes me feel like I'm in a little bit more control of, you know, my collection, because for a while I just felt like my collection was controlling me. And it's kind of put into perspective to me how much I actually think a product is worth purchasing. It's very different looking at new products and thinking, yes, this is good, and letting you guys know, yes, I think it lives up to the hype, and yes, you should buy it. Because I don't want to be blindly telling you guys you absolutely need this let's say blush, like powder blush, when I just recommended 5 other powder blushes for you guys. That just doesn't seem responsible on my end. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you're still hanging out with me and enjoying this project pan journey. Thank you guys so much for this last year of doing the project pan honestly together. And I hope you guys continue to enjoy it. If you guys do want to see our last year of project pan videos, then I'll leave it right here. The playlist will be linked for you. And until next time, you guys, take care of yourselves, and I will see you soon. Bye.